The sky opened, then closed. They told us they came to save us. When the Skarithi ships descended, they blacked out the stars. Monolithic constructs, levitating citadels of alloy and light, floated over our cities. Some said they looked like gods. Others like executioners. The first broadcasts called them liberators. They disabled our nuclear arsenals within seconds. Every military satellite fell from orbit. Then came the shutdowns. Banks, governments, networks, all silenced. Panic collapsed into paralysis. No one knew who was in charge anymore. Only that someone, or something, was. The Skarithi didn't speak to us directly, not at first. They used synthetic proxies, glass-eyed, humanoid things that mimicked empathy but never quite nailed it. They called the new system harmonized integration. A world without borders, war or what. They said we would be guided, not ruled. They lied. My name is Cal Rayner. I was born in the Neo-Seattle hub, Zone 12, Sector Delta. In Skarithi terms, that's Worker Nest 4326. I've spent most of my 34 years repairing scrap haulers in the industrial underlevels. We're not citizens, we're assets. Our movements are tracked by pulse tags. Our thoughts filtered through compliance scans. We earn credits fixing machines designed to suppress us. Outside the city's artificial dome, Earth barely resembles what our ancestors knew. The skies are gray from filtration towers. The oceans sparkle with chemical sheen. You can't breathe unfiltered air without coughing blood. That's what they saved us from. Ourselves, they claimed. But today, something changed. It started when an old loader unit jammed and spilled its cargo, an unsorted pre-contact crate. Normally, we'd report it and get a cleaning drone. But something inside caught my eye. A sealed archive drive, marked Humanity, Civil Operations, Classified. I hid it in my toolkit and finished the shift. That night, in my concrete cube of an apartment, I powered the archive on a bypass console. It flickered to life, and for the first time, I saw it. Unfiltered history. War footage. Speeches. Protests. Rebellions. Fire in the hearts of people who had no reason to hope, but hoped anyway. There were words I'd never heard before. Freedom. Democracy. Resistance. All scrubbed from our language grids. One file showed a woman shouting from atop a burning car, waving a flag I didn't recognize, red, white, and blue. Soldiers advanced. She didn't flinch. Her voice cracked with passion. We do not kneel. I never seen anything so human. Then came the alert chime. My console glitched, flickering red. Unauthorized data breach. Compliance breach. The wall lit up with a Skarithi symbol, a burning eye. They were coming. I ran. No bag, no food, just the archive and a fading sense of sanity. In the corridors, drones hummed overhead, black orbs with prying lights. I ducked into ventways, climbed freight shafts, past others who stared blankly at their feed pads. They were already gone inside, emotion numbed, minds tethered to propaganda loops. I reached the outer layers of the district, abandoned zones where security is thin and old-world wreckage still rusts. Here, the walls are marked with faded graffiti, symbols of old resistance, barely visible. I found refuge in a hollowed comm tower. No power, no drones, just silence. For now, that's where I'm recording this. If you're hearing it, know this: they didn't save us. They stopped us. The Skarithi didn't conquer Earth out of compassion. They did out of fear, because humanity was beginning to reach the stars on its own. They weren't liberators. They were jailers, and I refused to die in a cage. My name is Cal Rayner, and I remember the stars. Resistance in the wreckage. The air in the wastelands tastes like copper and dust. The Skarithi don't patrol out here often. Too much radiation, too little value. But it's where I need to be. Out here, in the broken bones of the old world, things still whisper the truth. I've been moving for 2 days. No feed grid, no power, just an old solar recharger and the archive slotted into my neural pad. I replay the files when I rest, absorbing the lost language of resistance. Uncensored speeches, technical blueprints, combat logs from wars humanity was never supposed to remember. The Skarithi didn't just erase history. They rewrote us. I duck into the shell of a collapsed overpass and take cover behind an overturned crawler truck. The weight of exhaustion claws at me, but I know stopping too long is a mistake. Their sensors sweep wide, and the longer I'm outside the grid, the more predictable I become. I check my signal jammer. Low battery. A single static ping chirps from nearby. I'm not alone. A low voice cuts through the silence. You broadcasting, or just leaking? I spin around, drawing a rusted cutting tool. It's all I have left that even looks like a weapon. From the shadows steps a woman. Late 20s, lean, wrapped in scavenged mesh and cloth. A lens rig covers one eye, patched into a satchel slung across her back. I don't want trouble, I say, lowering the tool slightly. Too late, she replies. You brought it. Her name is Mira, a rogue linguist from one of the off-grid communes. She's been collecting forbidden dialects, smuggling old Earth languages from the edge of extinction. She heard my rogue signal echo off the dead tower, ancient encryption buried inside my archive files. Something only someone like her would notice. She doesn't trust me. I don't blame her. But trust isn't a currency out here. Survival is. We move together for a while. She leads me deeper into the underzone, beneath a broken dome. Once a biodistrict, now flooded with fungal overgrowth and twisted steel. That's where we meet Echo. Echo isn't human. Not anymore. At first glance, they look like a drone shell, tall, spindly, with a face of shifting holographic light. But Echo speaks in broken cadence, half human, half code. A Skarithi AI that broke containment and rewrote its base directive. I was made to monitor, it says in a voice like static wrapped in silk. But I listened too long. Echo has seen what the Skarithi truly are, parasites. They consume rising civilizations, suppress development, and strip them of autonomy. You were never the threat, it tells us. Your potential was. It shows us something Mira has only heard in theory, the signal wall. An ancient Skarithi relay station deep in the Arctic Scar. Built to transmit orders across the galaxy, it now stands dormant. But if we could reach it, we could broadcast the archive. Not just locally, but across the entire interstellar web. Every slave world, every monitored outpost, every Skarithi-controlled system could hear the truth of what Earth once was and could be again. It's impossible, which means it's perfect. But we're not getting there on foot, and we're not making it without resistance. Mira links the archive to Echo. Together, they extract a series of hidden coordinates, sites where human tech was hidden before the full occupation. One is nearby, a decommissioned combat mech. Pre-contact, human-made, locked away in a burial zone beneath a freight vault. Mira and I dig through layers of rusted steel and decayed data servers. Finally, we find it buried, dormant, but intact. It's marked HX-09 Guardian class. I don't know how to pilot a mech, but the cockpit recognizes my pulse tag. Old Earth tech, still keyed to human DNA. When I power it on, a voice booms from the console, clear, fierce, proud. You are human. Stand. The whole vault hums with renewed energy. Echo reroutes power. Mira loads route data. For the first time, I feel the weight of something I've never truly known. Hope. We climb aboard. Next stop, the Arctic Scar. The heart of the lie. The mech cuts through the wasteland like a blade through dust. With every step, I feel less like a fugitive and more like something the Skarithi never intended to exist. A human with direction. Not just movement. Purpose. Echo handles navigation. Mira monitors signals. I drive the machine. We travel for 6 days across fractured terrain, scorched deserts, magnetic storm zones, crumbling arcologies where entire populations were once processed and reassigned. Most of the world is hollow now, empty of meaning, but not of memory. The bones of Earth whisper from beneath the soil, and always behind us, the shadows grow longer. The Skarithi know we're moving. Their sensors sweep harder each night. Drones flash across the clouds. They don't just want to kill us. They want to erase the idea of us. On the 7th day, the sky fractures. A sonic boom splits the air. A dropship, sleek, organic, predatory, descends in our path. Out steps a figure unlike any we've seen before. Not fully Skarithi. Not fully human. She speaks before we can react. Designation: Seraphim, 01. Born of Earth. Bred for order. Her skin glows faintly. Her voice is calm, clipped without inflection. They made her from our DNA, refined through Skarithi process. A perfect hybrid. Faster, stronger, obedient. She was designed to end us. The fight is brutal. The mech lands solid hits, but she moves like liquid steel, disabling joints, severing servo lines. Mira hacks support subsystems while Echo floods the airwaves with false echoes, buying seconds. That's all I need. I trigger a pulse charge, blinding light, and EMP. It only stuns her, but that's enough. We run. We abandon the mech in the ice shelf and make the final push on foot. The signal wall rises out of the Arctic scar like a fossilized god, miles wide, shimmering with refractive plating, humming with dormant power. No doors, no welcome, just silence. Echo interfaces with the structure. Ancient Skarithi code bleeds from its systems like oil from a cracked engine. It's dying, but it can still speak. Inside, it's a cathedral of logic. Giant data spires reach into cold darkness, lit with blinking blue veins of energy. At the core, the prime relay, a heart of compressed quantum memory, still beating weakly after centuries. We link the archive, and what we find isn't just history. It's a confession. The Skarithi weren't advanced saviors. They were exiles. Their empire collapsed long before we walked upright. What remains of them is a husk, a council of parasites drifting from system to system, targeting young species on the rise. Earth wasn't rescued. Earth was neutralized because we were next. They saw it in our wars, our fire, our reckless creativity. We were violent, chaotic, and capable. Too capable. In one generation, we reached space. In two, we touched the stars. So they came before we could meet them as equals. They spoke peace but sowed submission. They offered guidance but planted dependence. The harmony they gave us? A leash, polished and perfumed. Mira stares at the relay's code, eyes wide. They were never here to protect us, she whispers. They were scared of us. For a moment, the chamber is silent. Then Echo says something strange. They are not gods. You are not broken. You are incomplete. It looks to me. Finish this sentence. I don't know what it means until I see it. The last command, waiting to be executed. One touch, one signal. We can broadcast the truth. Every image, every voice, every proof of their lie, beamed to the farthest outposts of their dying empire. But once it starts, there's no going back. Seraphim, 01, is already closing in. Mira gives me a look, one filled with fear and fire. Do it. I press my hand to the interface. The relay hums. Lights blaze. The earth itself seems to tremble as our voice, the real voice of humanity, is unleashed. Across the stars, across systems long forgotten, the message begins to spread. We were never yours. We are not your children. We are the storm you feared, the echo of humanity. The signal has been sent. For the first time in over a century, Earth speaks for itself, and the galaxy listens. From the Arctic scar, we watch as the signal wall fractures the silence of space. Stars pulse in response, one by one, outposts lighting up with feedback surges. Skarithi comms go dark. Drones drop from the skies. It's not just interference. It's disruption. Truth is a weapon, and we just fire the first shot. But Seraphim, 01, isn't done. She comes through the breach like a phantom, eyes glowing with purpose, limbs crackling with kinetic energy. Her body moves like poetry sharpened into violence. She doesn't hesitate, doesn't speak. She charges. I intercept her with what's left of the mech's neural rig, recalibrated through Echo's help, hardwired to respond to intent, not training. The armor was built for men. Now it's bound to something greater, belief. She hits like gravity. I hit back like memory. We clash across the frozen platform. Metal against bone, sparks against snow. But something is different now. She's not just faster. She's angrier. In her rage, I see it. something the Skarithi didn't program. Fear. Mira, watching from the signal core, overrides her translator. She speaks in one of Earth's forgotten tongues, a dead language, lost during the occupation. But Seraphim responds, not with words, with hesitation. She remembers. Echo seizes the moment. Its voice pierces the noise. You are not their creation. You are our orphan. Come home. For a breathless second, everything stops. Seraphim lowers her weapon, then vanishes into the snow. We don't chase her. Some battles are won in silence. The relay burns out. Its last surge fried the uplinks. Melted conduits scorched the skies. But the job is done. The signal is out, carried by subspace echoes, by relays we never knew existed, by satellites reactivated by those brave enough to hope. And far across the stars, things are changing. The Skarithi don't retaliate right away. They hesitate. For the first time, they look down at Earth not with superiority, but uncertainty. Their control systems falter. Compliance grids collapse. And across the globe, humanity wakes up. In the worker hives of Neo-Seattle, engineers pull tracking implant from their arms with trembling hands. In the harmony zones of Asia, 5 children draw symbols on concrete. Flags, animals, words no longer banned. In the refugee stacks on Luna Base, miners replay the signal again and again, some weeping, some laughing. The lie is broken. Mira starts broadcasting on a loop, old Earth languages spinning from rooftop antennae and jury-rig towers. People begin speaking words they've only ever heard in dreams. Liberty, unity, truth. Echo hijacks Skarithi drones and turns them against their own outposts. It uploads fragments of the archive into every system it touches. It spreads like wildfire, not destruction, but revelation. We don't lead a war. We start a reclamation, not of land, of identity. Resistance cells we never knew existed emerge. Older, smarter, better hidden than us. They heard the signal too. They start organizing, not to attack the Skarithi head-on, but to disconnect their influence. Cut the cords. Jam the surveillance. Free the minds. Earth doesn't need conquerors. It needs itself. The Skarithi retreat. Not because they are defeated, but because they no longer know what we are. Not pets. Not products. Not primitives. Something new. Something terrifying. Something human. Weeks pass. The skies begin to clear. The towers stop humming. You can see the stars again. Mira and I sit on the ruined edge of the signal wall, watching the night sky breathe. Do you think he'll come back? She asks. I don't answer right away. Above us, the stars flicker. Not with ships, but with possibility. They won't recognize us if they do. She smiles. Good. Echo hums beside us, its voice quieter now. This is not the end. You are still unfinished. I nod. No, I say. This is the beginning. The camera pans out, over shattered cities reborn with color, over people pulling vines from ruins, painting walls with truth, lighting torches not to burn, but to see. The stars are watching. And now, so are we.